architects, and I will couch that into architects, not just the technical architects, but people who can also understand how the architecture blends with the business processes. It's incredibly hard to get the skill set that has both. You can get a good technology person who can understand the business processes but not understand the depths and the guts of the architecture. And you can get somebody who's really good at the architecture but can't kind of elevate themselves to this is the business and what we really need and to help make those choices.
Yeah, technology doesn't solve the problem. The people that consume the technology solve the problem. And I think the whole idea of design thinking within the user experience and to create a user interface for the group that you're targeting. Because again, an ugly user interface might be absolutely fantastic for a group that's consuming a lot of information, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the design thinking principles drive that, and I think that's lacking in a lot of young talent. I mean, they love the tech, but the tech doesn't solve it. So we have internal clients who are just as important as a consumer-facing client when people are selling technology, and we have to start morphing our organizations to think of those as consumers. Create workplace technology teams that are thinking, how is that user interface and how can we improve it? We're a design company, so design thinking permeates through our organization. So it's a bit simpler to start up the conversation, but it's not necessarily easy to train, teach, and get people to think that way. And I think that's really something for the future, to your point, Chris, and I think all the points as well. Like how do we deliver systems that people will use?
One of the things that I look for, and I try to make a point of at least spending 15 minutes with every new interview that my team does, and I manage a team of about roughly 100, is I just look to see simply if they can actually manage relationships. Like the whole end user experience, if you boil it down, it's about understanding what the person needs and manage that relationship. And so I take for granted that the technology skills are going to be there based on my managers saying, okay, you need to interview this person. I just take that for granted that they know how to do ETL or they know how to do data architecture. It's really about understanding, can this person at some point go in front of some business person at their level and be able to connect and empathize with the issue that we're trying to solve as IT, right?
Like a lot of these core skill sets that we used to want, system administrators, storage administrators, that stuff is mostly gone now with a lot of the commodity and normalized stuff we've got. But things like security that you brought up, I mean, I think there's a big lacking because that spans all the stuff and more regulations and being in the paper being like companies' number one fear anymore around anything. I think that's probably an area I see we're mired in it at the bank, but just having that raw set of skills to understand all that stuff and can navigate the security controls and deal with your security organizations, that's a big one that I think is lacking.